The whole shebang took place from the 21st through the 23rd and affected all of the Midwestern and Southern USA. And it was really bad. Hi, I'm Chris May, writer, producer, and host of This Day in Weather History, now in its second year from the Weather Network in Canada. The storms that caused the tornadoes also came packed with accessories, damaging winds, and baseball to grapefruit-sized hail. It started this day in weather history. They normally see 33 tornadoes per year, and even at that, they normally occur in the spring. So how could this have happened? It broke a record for a tornado outbreak in January. It lasted 46 hours, almost 2 complete days. That equaled 127 tornadoes that touched down in 10 states. The outbreak caused extreme damage, killing 9 people and injuring over 160, costing $90 million in damages, but that wasn't all. So, all right, get ready. You know what happens now. We cue the music and ask, just what happened? On January 21st, this day in weather history, the Storm Prediction Center, or the SPC, issued high-risk weather warnings across Arkansas, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Mississippi. It didn't surprise anyone either. The conditions were just so ripe for an extreme weather event and tornadoes because of a supporting upper-level trough whose axis was well-positioned across the central United States. Things rapidly intensified when this upper-level support collided with a powerful 280 km/h jet streak that used the southern Rockies for a launching pad. Meanwhile, at the surface, there was a low-pressure system near the Texas-Oklahoma border, so it was lying along that same flight path as the jet stream. That is why and how, early on the 21st, the low rapidly deepened as fast as it did, with all that superior amount of lift, and it just rocketed eastward and into Arkansas. Now, from the National Weather Service archives, it was confirmed that there were 30 tornado tracks across 15 state counties. The Little Rock Meteorological Office issued 48 tornado warnings, 80 severe thunderstorm warnings, and 22 flash flood warnings during this event. Now, as I said off the top, the Razorback State usually sees 33 tornadoes in a year, and usually they occur during the spring. So 56 in one day is mind-blowing. Most of the tornadoes were produced between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on the 21st, this day in weather history. To make matters infinitely worse, the next day Arkansas was forced to endure another 51 touchdowns for a not-so-grand total of 107 in only 2 days. Now, some of the stories to come out of Little Rock, Arkansas from that event included how on the first day things got started at 6:30 p.m. while most people would normally have been just sitting down to dinner. That one lasted a grueling 29 minutes and traveled 35 kilometers, crushing hundreds of buildings in its path. But 107 tornadoes later was something no one could have ever imagined. Welcome to year 2 of this podcast. Right now, you're listening to the full version of today's story on your favorite podcast provider. But there's also the daily podcast video short. They're shot right here in my podcast recording studio, so you get that perspective, but oftentimes they will include visuals from that day's event from when it happened in weather history. So after listening to the full story, go check out the podcast video short on television or online anytime at theweathernetwork.com/weather history. Let's put some perspective on this story now. How record-setting was this? Well, according to the NWS, the previous state record for one outbreak was 34 tornadoes, and that was on June 5th of 1916. 34? Are you kidding me? It was a record that dated back 83 years, and it was only 1 above the annual average. Oh, sure, it happened on one day. I'm not dismissing that. But 34 versus 107 is a total mismatch. Now, sometimes people ask how this made it to the TDIWH calendar over other events that would have taken place on the same date. I get that a lot, and I understand it. It comes down to impact, historical significance, and a number of other considerations, but I assure you, we run on a platform of 365 case-by-case decisions. It is exhausting. As an example, had this day in 1999 not happened at all, then this story would have been here instead. It wasn't all that long ago, and those involved who were either in or remember the 1999 outbreak must have been thinking, oh my gods, not again. because on the 21st through the 23rd of January in 2017, there was another catastrophic outbreak. On the same eerily cluster of 3 days on the calendar, 81 tornadoes were officially counted in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Texas. In Georgia, there was a state record 42 tornadoes during the event and 52 tornadoes for the month. That is how close the decisions are as to what stories we tell on this day in weather history. Tomorrow is January 22nd, and we will salute the 334 Club. So you're asking, what is that? Well, those who are part of this elite and very lucky group know exactly what I'm talking about and why it will be our feature tomorrow on this podcast. Before too many people misunderstand me, it is a weather story and it involves the NHL. On this day in weather history with me, your host, Chris May.